And I think from a Jurgen Klopp's perspective, and you will probably all disagree with me on this, but this is just my take, that man has had to endure a lot of snide comments, backhanded comments, and a little bit of patronising from the British media over his years. And I'm not like nitpicking one particular season or one particular incident. I'm just saying there have been a catalogue of things that he hasn't always handled well, but he's had to deal with irrespective of how well he's handled them. And I think now that he knows he's going, it's zero fucks given. I'll say what I want. I'll do what I want.
What do you mean by that then, Errol? Give me some examples of what he's had to deal with.
So there've been times where, you know, he's criticised referees and he's questioned, and then interviewers have just like stuck it on him as if he's just made it up and it's been fabricated. And it's like, well, it's clear for everybody to see. They always seem to want to know why, you know, you lose your head in situations. Like, why'd you get so agitated? They even done it the other day when we was winning like 7-8-1. Why'd you get so agitated? Why'd you get so animated? And it's like, why are you pinpointing one moment? It's almost like not necessarily it's almost what content creators do for something where they know they're going to get clicks. And I feel like he is someone who's very emotive, so he will act without always necessarily thinking about certain things, and he'll be the first to admit that. But I just think there have been a number of situations over the last number of years where there have been incidents that have happened where you just think, okay, why did they have to go there? What was the reason for them going there?
It was a bit classless from him though on his part.
Oh yeah, I without seeing it from what you have said, it does come across like that. But I genuinely think he's at a point where he thinks, you know what, it is what it is.
I don't care anymore.
No. Like, what recourse can there possibly be to me? I'm going in a couple of months, so you either like it or lump it. And I'm not saying that's the attitude that I want him to go out with, because I think by and large he's respected by fans across the board. Even, you know, Dan United, massive hate, can't stand Liverpool, but at times had a lot of respect for what Jurgen Klopp has done with this Liverpool side.
Errol, I've said it time again. I'll always say that. I think what the guy's done, I said it a few weeks ago after the Carabao Cup final, you know,
and what he's done. Fair. But I think it's in fair measure that you can criticise him as well. I genuinely do think that, like, at the end of the day, I think by and large, football fans across the board will think Jurgen Klopp's been a net positive to English football. But you've also got to take the rough with the smooth. And it could be the same thing you could say against Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho, for times, was a class act. But as soon as shit wasn't going Jose's way, you started to see a completely different side of him that really started to rattle a few cages. So I'm not saying that Jurgen Klopp hasn't got the ability to be able to do that. And I'm not going to be sitting here trying to defend what he did yesterday without seeing it. But from my perspective, my attention really is drawn down to the players, because I even said it with Grizz the other night. Grizz had tweeted out that, you know, Diaz was going to be on the bench for the Europa League game. I turned around and said, yo, I need this kid to get on the pitch and score some goals, mate. I need goals from him. I said, he needs to come on Sunday and score me some goals, because at the minute it's not good enough. Like, we can't be carrying people. And when you know Salah's not 100% fit, when you know Nunes is always going to cause chaos, but not necessarily, he's either going to create or he's going to score, but not necessarily guaranteed to do either at any particular moment. You need somebody else that can be a spark and a creator. In Luis Diaz, I don't expect him to get the goals that Salah does. I don't expect him to get the goals that Nunes does. But I expect him to be pulling up better numbers when it comes to content, like chance creation. And he simply just isn't hitting those heights at the moment. So for me, that's an area where we need to address it. Right now, obviously, you can't address it in a window. You've got to address it tactically. But it is absolutely critical that one of two things happen. He either addresses his form after the international break, or Diogo Jota comes back and is fit enough to really upset.
You're missing him, man. You're missing Jota.
We're missing him.
Can I come in here and just raise a few points?
Yeah.
Can I just raise a few points? So, first of all, the thing on Klopp, the comments, like, he's been a dick there, yeah, but like, it is what it is. Like, I think that, like, there's other times when Klopp's been a dick, and it is what it is. For me, I'd be more asking questions like, why did this guy, play Salah for a full 90 minutes in a dead game, and then take him off against United, which wasn't a dead game? Also, I didn't think we need to have an honest conversation about Zabozo, mate, because this guy, might have started off the season good, but this guy just spams shots from 35 yards. What does he actually do? You know what I mean? I don't know what.
Who are you talking about?
I was like, you know what? Do you know what pissed me off more than anything else, though? It was the in-game management, though, LB, bro. Like, how are you going to get to 119 minutes played on the clock? You have a corner, fair fucks, but why are you leaving Connor Bradley as your last man there? And why are you sending every man, every Tom, Dick, Harry, Jane, Steve, Wayne, and his dog up top? There's no need to do that. There's absolutely no.
Commentator cursed you with that, mate. Commentator cursed you. He said, Simicus, just like the Carabao Cup final. Virgil van Dijk's up there. Oh, he's missed him. Oh, it's a goal you played.
But the thing is, though, Dan, like, you're doing it at Old Trafford. There is no need to do that. Like, pens around the corner. Like, literally, send 5 lads up and just keep a couple of lads back and let it be what it'll be. If it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, we'll just take it to pens and we'll just try and see out if we can hold our nerve.
Who were your penalty takers? Who were your penalty takers? Is that not maybe they were worried about who was on the pitch?
Well, no, because McAllister was still on the pitch. I think Nunes was still on the pitch. I think Diaz was still on the pitch. Verge was still on the pitch. And I think Harvey Elliott may have stood up and taken a penalty. But again, that's not necessarily where my frustration lies. My frustration lies at the actual in-game management. There was moments in that game, as you mentioned, the counter-attacks. There was a couple of those where if we make better decisions and if we're more clinical, better runs, and we leave you with no options, we score. There's the infield pass from Nunes, as the LB's already picked up. Why is he doing that? And the kid works so hard, and I feel sorry for him because he is someone that works tirelessly for the team. So it's not like it's done out of just being a lazy player, or it's not done out of him not having any quality. It was just an absolute brain fart of a moment in the worst time to possibly do it. And then on top of that, you then decide to throw everybody up on the 119th minute. So we was our own worst enemies in that performance, and we handicapped ourselves and we gifted Manchester United opportunities. What I will say about Man U, though, is I still think you've had the better clear-cut chances throughout the course of the game. The couple of goals that we scored, I know you mentioned there was deflections, but there was a couple of clear-cut chances that you've had that I thought, ooh, on another day. Go on, Pete.
Errol, I think we can both agree, extra time, there was no formation. It was chaos.
No, it was chaos. It was chaos from the start.
It was utter chaos.
But you don't necessarily need to have the formation in place, which I think you'd always want to see. But you need to just have that little bit of nous, that little bit of game management. And I know Liverpool fans will hate me and slate me for saying this. And it's almost a bit of a, there's no point in saying it, to be fair, but I think it is valid. If Jordan Henderson's playing that game yesterday in extra time, we don't lose that. And a lot of people could turn around and be like, what does he do? He doesn't get you to that far, and he's probably been knocked out a couple of rounds before and all the rest of it, and blah, 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 blah. I think, yeah, fair enough. But genuinely, having someone like that in extra time for you and your team.
This brings me on nicely. Big up to Pete, by the way. This brings me on nicely to what I was going to say.
Go on.
Liverpool fans won't like this, right? But I honestly think that if this Liverpool side was to win the Premier League, I think Jurgen Klopp's probably the best achievement he's ever done. Because I've seen better Liverpool sides not win Premier League titles than this one. Like, real talk. Like, you just mentioned the player there in Jordan Henderson, right? We've not. This is a team that doesn't have Henderson, doesn't have Wijnaldum, doesn't have Fabinho, doesn't have Firmino, doesn't have Mane, and that was a better side. I would argue that, if I'm honest with you, the team that had Sturridge, Suarez, and Sterling was probably up there with this one, right? No. For me, I think it would be an unbelievable achievement if they were in the league. And you still can, by the way. I'm not saying you're not going to, because you still could.
The thing that I'll take the point that you're saying, but I think from my perspective, I always said that I didn't expect Jurgen to give the news that he gave 2.5 months ago or whatever it was now. I didn't expect that. So when we was like vying for it and we was close to City, close to Arsenal, and it was like, ooh, I genuinely thought in my gut, this may be a season too soon, but there's enough in it for the lads to go into that last whatever many games. The lads that have been there and done it can look around the room and say, we've got what it takes because we've done it before. This is the levels that you're going to need to put in week by week now. Or you're on it. If you're on it, come with us. If you aren't on it, then next year might have to be the year that we really push and we could actually put our chests out from early and say we're going for the title, which we didn't do. No Liverpool fan really at the start of the season said we was going to go for the title. I think I even conceded that City were going to win the league and we'd finish second. So the fact that we're in with a shout now it just goes to show to me more than anything
I get that,
else.
Errol. I get that, Errol, right? And I think it is phenomenal if they do it, right? If Liverpool win the league with this team. But, and this isn't me saying that you've got a bunch of bozos, because you're far from it, right? But I get what LB's saying. You know, Zabozo. I didn't actually know you called him that, to be fair, bro. Zabozo. But I honestly think Arsenal fans overhype our players as a fan base, right? Saka's world class, Odegaard's world class, Martinelli's world class. I think Liverpool do it a bit as well, bro. I can't lie.
I've told you.
Okay,
I've told you
let me
from the
tell you
start
why.
of the season. Yeah, but I've told you
I'm
from
not
the
saying
start.
you
of the
do it. I'm not saying you
No,
do it.
I'm not saying you do, but I'm telling you from the start of the season. I told you we had the most firepower. All of our forwards, or even though I can't. Right,
But they don't. They haven't though. They haven't though.
no, but then you're not letting me finish
saying.
what I'm going to say. You're not letting me finish what I'm going to say. So
Go on then, go on.
even though I am critical of Diaz and Gakpo, every single one of our front five have got over 10 goals this season so far. We're the only team in England to have done it. So I told you from the start we had the most firepower, and they've come through with the metrics to say that they all chipped in over the course of the season with more than 10 goals so far. So I'm not saying that they're all world class in their respectives, but I knew that they would all come clutch when it comes to the firepower that we had up top. The one area where I was really, really, really skeptical this season was the defense. I didn't know what the midfield was going to do because I'd never seen it before, really. But defensively, we've stepped up and we've got one of the best defensive records in the league to this day still so far. So from that perspective, and we've still got the best goalkeeper, I don't see how you can really look at it and be like, right, you can pick holes in the midfield, but I think there are more surprises in the midfield than there are letdowns.
I think you're right. I think Endo is the biggest surprise for me. I think he's been good. But I look at this Szoboszlai guy, and I honestly thought Liverpool fans were going to put him on a pedestal as being one of the best players in the club in the first 10 games. I thought, let's just give this kid a bit more of a chance to actually see what he's made of. I mean, I love Grizz, but Hungarian Gerrard, are we for real? Like, what's happening here? Like, this guy's disappeared for God knows how long. I don't remember the last time I see him have an unbelievable game. Luis Diaz, we've called out as well, rightly so. Gakpo, I don't get it. I know you're saying they're putting out the numbers, but we're having the same conversations here that I've been trying to have with other fans about my club. Like, Saka's been shit this year. Well, look at his numbers. They're still good. Odegaard, he's not been great this year, but look at this. Kai Havertz has been a terrible signing. Look at his numbers. And now we're starting to compare him, and now Liverpool getting the ump. This is what we've had all season. The numbers are still there. So this is my point. I honestly believe if Liverpool win it, I mean, I still think Man City are going to win the Premier League. I do, right? But I do look at it, and I think if Liverpool were to do it, I'd be like, fair play, Klopp, because there's some gaps in that team that I don't look at this Liverpool team and go, wow. I mean, that is fantastic. I still look at it and think, God, they're quite weak in that area, and I don't know if they've got the best there. I don't know if they've got the best that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but up until Pep come and done what Pep's been doing and been Centurions and all them vibes, you didn't have to have the perfect team to win the league. There was gaps in Chelsea's team that won the league. There's been gaps in Leicester's team that won the league. There's been gaps in Arsenal teams in past that have won the league. There have been gaps in Man United's teams that have won the league.
Take our names out your fucking mouth.
No, bro, come on. Like, if we're calling a spade, let's just have it as it is. There have been gaps in your teams when you have won the league. I'm not saying you haven't won the league with still strong teams, but there have still been gaps. It doesn't necessarily, it's only because City have turned it into such a freak novelty that you end up with plus 95 points to go on and win the league, where you feel like every single one of your players from start to back has got to be a world beater. But when you bring everything back down to a normal level, you don't have to have an absolutely flawless team to have. Yeah, even you said there, the 2012-2013 team from Man United, it was on its way out. They still won a league. It was a massive achievement for Sir Alex Ferguson sometimes. No, I mean,
Errol, is this
when you've got one of the best managers in the world, they will always manage to get an extra 10 to 15% out of their players, even if they do have world-class players at their disposal. That's where Brendan Rodgers wasn't able to get us over the line in that season, because he wasn't world-class to get that extra 10, 15% out of certain players, which he needed to do. I'm being honest.
Errol, are you concerned for the rest of the season? I mean,
no.
Games like this.
We've lost 3 games all season. 3 games all season.
It's an honest question.
No, I don't know it is, and I respect it. But when you deep it, we've lost 3 games all season. They hurt because we haven't lost, and we haven't shit the bed to a Brentford this year, and we haven't shit the bed to a fucking Crystal Palace this year. But we've shit the bed to Arsenal. We absolutely didn't turn up that day. I genuinely still think, and most people think, we got robbed by Spurs. Bit of an hard one to take. And yesterday, we capitulated when it mattered most. Genuinely, they're the 3 domestic losses that we've had all year. So we can criticize, but in terms of that being a derailing factor, if it was me and if I was Jurgen Klopp, I would be doing my utmost to try and use this as a motivating factor now to say, you need to be here.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to. And I'll say this as well. Like, for me, right, if Arsenal don't win the league this season, I want Liverpool to win it, right, ahead of Manchester City. I've said that because I just don't want them just running away with it every year, right? But I think some of the Liverpool fans have had a little bit of not a wake-up call, because it's not the right thing to say, but a little bit of a like, whoa, okay, we got to get back on the track now, because I was hearing 4-1s, 3-0s, 3-1s in this game. Liverpool really confident. And the same fans were telling me they were going to beat us 3-0 at the Emirates. And I could see this was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen against Man United, but I could see it coming when it was like last-minute goal against Forest. Was it Forest? I could see it. I was thinking, this isn't going to be sustainable. This is going to crumble soon. Now, sometimes you crumble and then you jump straight back on. And sometimes you need that crumble to give you a bit of that wake-up. And that could happen, Errol. You could now get it back. And Klopp probably will do that. But I just think sometimes that's what this Premier League is about, man. And obviously, in this case, the FA Cup, you look at it and you think, this is bloody difficult, man. Because that can happen to anybody. And I think that's just what happened to Liverpool yesterday, in my opinion. LB, sorry, you were going to
say... Liverpool haven't had like a bad period of the season yet. Like, if you look at City, when we was like, I think we won 1 game in 5 or 6. I think Arsenal won 1 in 7. Like, Liverpool have just like win, draw, win, draw. Like, they've just like dropped a point or lost, but then started winning straight away. So it will be interesting to see if they go through that period. I mean, it's unlikely because, you know, whilst Brighton might be a challenge, even if they got beat off Brighton or dropped points to Brighton, they then play Sheffield United at home. So it's unlikely that Liverpool are going to go through like a mad run. But, you know, from a City point of view, and I guess the same from an Arsenal point of view, we don't need them to go through a bad run. We just need them to drop a few points. And for my view yesterday, you know, I did get more confident about the Premier League having watched Liverpool yesterday, because I thought they were poor. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's any getting away from that. You know, like I say, I thought they looked a bit arrogant in the way they played, and just the general sort of quality just wasn't there and was a bit lacking. And make no mistake about it, the pressure on these players is mad. Yeah, because obviously, like everyone, all the Liverpool fans and obviously all the players will want to win this Premier League. Just because they want to win it, but obviously for Jurgen Klopp as well. And that next game against Brighton, I initially said that's going to be easy W for Liverpool. I still think they'll win it, but like the pressure on that game is absolutely huge, because if they do drop points there, whoever wins between City and Arsenal, who obviously play after the Liverpool game, they will feel that they will go on and win the Premier League. So for Liverpool, having this 2-week break isn't ideal, but when they come back and play that Brighton game, they just need to win. No matter how bad the performance is.
They got boys back as well, haven't they? After the
but it's not really about that, though, is it? When you get to this part of the season, it's not really. I don't think it's about that. It's about handling the pressure.
Yeah.
Because like all Arsenal fans, and all the City fans will be watching that game, and the Liverpool fans will know that they're under huge pressure. They've got to win the football match. And listen, Brighton will be going there knowing full well that they can cause a big upset. You know what I mean? And Brighton are a decent side on the day, so. For Liverpool now, it's just about getting them 3 points against Brighton, you know. But listen, the pressure's on. The pressure's on massively.
Yeah, the pressure is on, man.